You're listening to the Eat, Drink, Explore Radio Network, live every Sunday with the very latest food, beverage, and travel trends.
Fabulous.
Now here's the host of our show, Mr. Randall White.
Hey, good morning, everyone. That applause is for our new anchor desk that's coming up to the studios.
Yay!
We couldn't get it up here in time for today because there's too much wiring that has to be replaced. So we just got into the finishing stages of it yesterday, and we'll need a week to switch things out. But what we did switch out this week is our internet system.
Oh, okay.
Got greatly upgraded, and so now if you happen to be watching online, we're broadcasting just under high definition.
Oh, very nice.
We were kind of in low definition before, and the choices are low, medium, high, and then high def. And so we're in the high category now. So
very nice.
We should look more clear.
We should look better?
More clear? Is that? Or
I don't
clearer?
know if seeing us more clearly makes us look more better.
Not at this time of the morning. But actually, we had an extra hour of sleep, which is good. We'll talk about that coming up in just a little bit. Good fun day Sunday morning, or I guess it's the other way around. Sunday fun day morning, everyone. This is California's place to talk about current trends in food, beverages, travel, and tourism. We keep it healthy and sustainable as always as we broadcast live from our studios right here in California. I am your host, Randall White, joined by Patty Pyburn. That's the lovely voice you were hearing just a moment ago.
Good morning.
And straight ahead on this hour of the program, we're taking a look at whether fish oils, you know, those omega-3s, can be beneficial in battling depression. We'll speak with a lead researcher for a study being funded by the military to help vets with PTSD and depression problems following service overseas. So, interesting study. Also, small lot wineries, our favorites here at Eat, Drink, Explore Radio, will be celebrated in fine fashion in the coming days. We'll have the man behind a Central Coast Wine Festival in studio in just a little bit. Then our Travel Deals segment, Mr. Gabe Saglie with Travelzoo brings us his picks, including some amazing California properties. And I've already been down the list because he sent them to me ahead of time.
So you've had a chance to peruse.
For sure. You want to stay tuned for this because Gabe's got some good ones this week. And then next hour is our Compass Hour. The word is sand. And so we take a look at how the time change affects your internal clock. You know, Mr. Sandman?
Yes.
who puts the sand in your eyelids and makes them heavy so you fall asleep. That's how it works, right?
Yeah, that's what I was, something like that was what I was told.
Right. So we are taking that trip to the Stanford Sleep Center and then to find out how to get the best of your rest time. And then tickets to give away for today's Chemistry of Cocktails event in Grover Beach, California. And then finally, the host of the Travel Channel's Sand Masters. I don't know if you've ever watched that on the it's good. Boy, they make a simple sandcastle look amazing, seriously. He joins us with tips on playing in the sand, ways that you can make some of those, fun sandcastles too. But right now, it's time to check in with the lovely, talented Patty Pyburn to find out what's making news on this Sunday morning at 8:09.
That's right. It is that time. From the Eat, Drink, Explore news desk, we are taking a look at the stories making news on this Sunday morning. And first of all, check your clocks. It is time once again to fall back. Daylight saving time came to an end overnight, and we are now once again on standard time. So your clock should read, I'm going to click over to my clock, 8:10 at this moment. And we want to make sure that you don't arrive an hour early for wine tasting or your brunch reservations. What would you do? You'd have to taste more wine. All right, we'll speak with a sleep expert, as Randall mentioned in our second hour, about how this time change can affect your health and what you should eat, drink, and do to minimize the issues. Now, how close you live to the nearest bar may at least partially determine whether you binge drink. There had been speculation that perhaps drunks move close to drinking establishments, but new research out of Finland shows the trend may be the other way around. The study, involving nearly 55,000 people, shows when someone moves within about a half mile of a bar, the odds of becoming a heavy drinker rose 17%. Heavy drinking was defined as more than 10 ounces of hard alcohol per week for men and about 7 for women. It's all about location.
It is, and I'm wondering, that study is out of Finland. I know in those what do you call those countries? Scandinavian countries, they are extremely strict on drinking and driving. They were far in front of
They were ahead of
the
us.
United States when it came to that. And so I'm wondering if the proximity issue makes a difference for them, because these are places they can walk to.
Right, driving versus walking.
Right. And so I don't know if that would play, if that same study would play.
If it translates the same for our culture.
Right, exactly.
Maybe that's the next study. All right. Online travel booking and exploring is showing signs of a growing economy. Both Priceline and TripAdvisor are looking good to investors, with a jump in stock prices on Friday based on stronger than expected quarterly earnings reports and future predictions. Last month, Expedia showed similar growth. Orbitz is set to release its quarterly report this week. Randall.
Yes.
Political races are heating up as we head into Election Day on Tuesday. I almost can't stand the suspense. And it's not just the presidential race. We have some key things on our California ballot.
Lots of stuff heating up.
Yes. And you know what? So is the California weather. There was a segue there. A ridge of high pressure building over the state, resulting in sunny skies and coastal temperatures well above average for the next few days, peaking Monday and Tuesday. Mid 70s through upper 80s for much of our state. And if this is too warm for your November, we'll try Tahoe City or Mendocino, where the forecast shows temperatures in the mid 60s.
Ooh, that sounds good to me.
Yeah, everyone should see cooler weather, Randall, and some rain by the end of the week. In fact, the last forecast I saw for the 7-day outlook, big fat rain clouds on Saturday and Sunday. We'll see if that plays out, but looks like some rain in our future.
We've been doing this weekend show since we started in early March. So if you've been listening all that time, thank you so much. We appreciate it. And I know the audience has grown quite a bit, and we love that. But we've been doing this show since March. I don't think, can you recall all of that time? I don't think we've ever had a rainy day during the show.
We haven't. The worst weather blip we've had was a intensely foggy morning once.
Right. And even that cleared off before the show was done.
Right. Otherwise, we're looking at beautiful downtown San Luis Obispo glowing in golden California sunlight.
I know. And today, most of the state will be that way. And warm. I think the high in here in San Luis is supposed to be 86, 88 tomorrow. Almost 90. Yeah, I know. Some people just eat that up, though. Absolutely love it. Hey, give us your thoughts on time change, on warm November days, whatever you would like to share with us. You can always email us. It's radio@eatdrinkexplore.com. Or you can head over to our Facebook page. That, of course, is /EatDrinkExplore, or tweet us anytime. Join us. That's at Eat Drink Explore. It's all very simple there.
Yes.
And I want to apologize for both my voice and my nose. I felt a tickle in my throat a week ago, and it's taken a full week to develop to the point where it's a cold, you know. And
so you're under the weather, so to speak.
I am under the weather, the nice warm weather. I'm under it, but I do not feel top of my game. So if you hear me clearing my throat or coughing and stuff like that throughout the show, I just want to apologize ahead of time. All right, just after the break, it is our health and fitness segment. We're learning about work being done to determine whether omega-3 fatty acids can help ease depression. Then later, our travel deals segment with Gabe Saglie. Also, I want to say hello to Sue in Santa Cruz. We saw her back on Wednesday, and she pointed us in the direction of a coffee house called Verve, right? Which is right downtown there. Some of the best coffee I've ever had. It was absolutely delicious. So thank you, Sue. We told her we'd give her a shout out.
Very nice.
Okay, we're back in just a moment.
Salisbury Vineyards at the Schoolhouse in Avila Valley has an incredible lineup for Slow Wine Country's Rock and Harvest celebration, all day Sunday, November 4th. Beginning bright and early, our Salisbury family is hosting the biannual Hair the Dog Pancake Breakfast from 9:30 to 11, and we'll have our famous backward mimosas too. From 1 to 4, Salisbury Vineyards has talent from Hollywood with Andrea Calderwood and trio Sequence. These young performers are the faces you're likely to see soon on some of America's favorite new music competitions, so come early to get good seats. For the show, Salisbury Wines and Confusion Culinaries, tasty dishes will be available for purchase. These events are open to the public and are free for Salisbury Wine Club members and participants attending one of Slow Wine Country Rock and Harvest celebrations. Find details for all Salisbury Vineyards events at salisburyvineyards.com or give us a call at 805-595-WINE.
All
added it.
Wherever you turn this election,
Complex new
it's hard to ignore the ads.
California family by
They're
hundreds of dollars
everywhere.
per year.
Like that campaign from Dow, Monsanto, and foreign chemical companies spending millions trying to protect their profits and hide what they're doing to our food. But when you tune in to what's really happening, Prop 37 just gives us the right to know if our food is genetically engineered. 37 is about a simple label that doesn't cost a dime. So it's won the support of consumers, doctors, farmers, and so many others. So when you hear those ads, remember they're funded by Monsanto, Dow, and foreign chemical companies trying to sell more pesticides. Yes, on 37. It's Californians versus the corporations. Shouldn't we have the right to know what's in our food? Proudly paid for by Yes on 37 for your right to know if your food has been genetically engineered. Supported by consumer advocates, makers of organic products, and California farmers. Major funding by Mercola.com Health Resources LLC and the Organic Consumers Fund.
Across the nation, people are stepping up. For their mothers, fathers, husbands, wives, partners, sisters, and brothers. They're leading the way and walking to end Alzheimer's, the 6th leading cause of death in the nation. Together, we can reclaim the future. Walk to end Alzheimer's. Start a team. Join a team. Go to alz.org.
Seems everybody's going organic, including lawn care. Did you know communities across the country are converting their lawns, playgrounds, and playing fields to an organic care program? And it's working. You can safely control weeds and pests and have a beautiful lawn. Your kids, pets, and water supplies will be safer, and your neighbors will be green with envy. Oh, and in the long run, organic lawn care is cheaper than doing it the conventional way. Switch to organic lawn care today. Visit pesticidefreelawns.org. The folks who brought you this public service message. Check out pesticidefreelawns.org today.
Jessica.
Hi, Mrs. Johnson. Is Megan there?
Sure. Follow me. The kids are in the kitchen making sandwiches.
Hey, Julie. Hi, Jessica. Hi, Megan. Hey, Megan.
Yeah?
You're a total freak. God, you're ugly. And dumb. Oh, and your makeup makes you look like a tramp. Tommy Morris told me you guys made out. Oh, my God. Everybody knows. The whole school knows. He said your breath smelled like garbage. And that dress is totally hideous. You look like a big fat clown. Disgusting. Oh, and by the way, nice zit.
If you wouldn't say it in person, why say it online? Delete cyberbullying. Don't write it, don't forward it. For more information, visit ncpc.org. A message from the U.S. Department of Justice, Crime Prevention Coalition of America, National Crime Prevention Council, and the Ad Council.
And a very good morning, everyone. 8:19 the time. And every time we come back from a commercial break, we'll remind you to look at the clock in your car,
yes.
your clock radio,
your microwave,
your watch. I just changed my watch, as a matter of fact.
Oh, good.
I just noticed that one. Yeah, your microwave.
That gave me a start this morning because that doesn't automatically change. And I was like, wait, what? Oh, okay. Time changed.
And you know what really messes people up, probably more than any other clock, is the one on your automatic drip coffee maker.
Oh, yes.
if you're off an hour on that
can really mess up your morning.
It really can. And that happened to me many times when I was a morning anchor with the lovely and talented Patty Pyburn at KCOY. And I just, there's nothing more frustrating than getting up at 2:50 in the morning and not having your coffee ready, because it's not like there's a ton of options between your house and work.
Right.
To get a cup, and the options typically aren't the best, you know.
And at that time of the morning, you don't have any minutes to spare.
No, none at all. So if you've got the gist of our conversation, we did end daylight saving time last night. Not daylight savings. It's there's no S on it. Daylight saving time ended last night, and now we are on standard time. So we're just standard. Nothing special about the time right now.
Just standard.
Hey, this is our health and fitness segment. We have this each and every week at the same time here on this station. And today we welcome a woman to the show who will begin a large-scale study funded by the U.S. military. They're looking for ways to help battle depression among our troops that serve overseas. You know, they come back and many times have PTSD and some other depression issues that I mean, that's one of the big casualties of war right there, and so they're looking for ways to help mitigate those problems. And there has been some light in the area of fish oils and omega-3 fatty acids. And so researcher Bernadette Marriott with the Medical University of South Carolina is leading this particular study and joins us this morning to talk a bit about it. Good morning, Bernadette.
Good morning.
Nice to have you joining us here today. And so why is it fish oils? Where, there's so many different things that you could focus on to try to treat depression. How did fish oils come to the forefront?
Well, first of all, the fish oils have been studied for many years in different forms and different components in terms of how they affect mood and psychiatric disorders. And there's been accumulating evidence over the years that the polyunsaturated fatty acid omega-3s have been particularly effective in treatment of depression in small studies. Now, the focus of our study is really sort of a bigger picture, in that while we will be looking at depression as one of our outcome assessment measures, our overall focus is to try and reduce the risk of suicide in veterans. Suicide is a problem not only in veterans, of course, which we hear about often in the news, but also in America. It's the 10th leading cause of death in America.
So this might help our troops, but it also might help someone that didn't serve in the military who might be facing that desire to take one's own life.
Right. So this has, broader. We hope that if we are successful in showing that omega-3s can improve many of the various behavioral components and emotive components related to suicide, that we will also be able to help not just military personnel, active duty and veterans, but also the population in general.
Now, Bernadette, when you're talking about these omega-3s, is this something that you can just change your diet and to have more of by eating certain foods, or is this something that you would need to take in a supplement form?
Well, as we know from the Dietary Guidelines for Americans that just came out in 2010, what we're trying to do in America is really improve our diet. And what's happened over the years in America is that based on our agricultural changes, we have more omega-6s and less omega-3s coming through in our general food supply. So if we look at America, and Americans, quite frankly, don't eat much fish. And fish is a very, very good source of omega-3s, particularly what we would tend to think of as the more oily fish, such as salmon and tuna and sardines and anchovies. So a pizza with anchovies on it would be a very good source.
Yeah, and anchovy, believe it or not, mixes very well into sauces. I was just reading a chemistry of cooking, and while you think, I don't want fish paste in my whatever I'm eating, there's a component in there that brings out the savory taste, and you don't even taste any fish.
It's not fishy.
No, but it really boosts the savory level by tenfold. Do those fishes, are they normally found in, is that right, those fishes? No, those fish.
The fish, yeah.
Are those fish typically found in cold water?
Typically, and tuna is a very good source, and salmon, which are much more popular in America.
Right. For sure.
But fish in general. If we had three dinners of fish each week, we would be getting a very good source of omega-3 fatty acids. To answer your question, that would be a very good source, and we wouldn't really need supplementation. But unfortunately, many people, unless they live near our coastline, tend not to be big fish eaters.
Right. Where are these omega-6s found that you're talking about? What sort of what are we eating that are boosting our omega-6 levels? And how does omega-6 differ from omega-3?
Okay, so polyunsaturated fatty acids have 2 or more unsaturated carbons. So it's really in the differences in the chemistry. And they're subdivided into 2 families according to the position of the first bond in the carbon chain. So one family are the omega-6s, and the other family are the omega-3s.
Okay.
So it's the different positions and number of connections that give the fatty acids their different chemical, nutritional, and functional properties that we can see in the body and the physiology of the body. And the source of the 6s in our diet is that we have more and more of a corn-based and a soy-based diet because our nation is such a strong producer globally of those products. So if you look at processed foods, you'll often find soy oil, you'll find corn in many different forms.
Right.
And it's not that these are bad, it has just changed the ratio of 6s and 3s
Substantially.
In our diets now compared to, say, around 1900, before we really became, as a nation, much stronger in production of these products.
Because I think for many of us, we see the omega and we just assume it's good. We don't, the number 3 or the number 6 doesn't have much meaning to us. But now, for me, it totally does. I appreciate that, Bernadette.
Well, if we look at a comparison of American intakes of omega-3s with, say, people in Scandinavia, in Great Britain, in Japan, we find that we're very, very low compared to those nations, and it just reflects the fact that they eat much more fish than we do.
So this would be sort of an awareness and an education issue, because if it's as easy as just choosing a different menu item, that's a pretty easy fix.
It is. And salmon's pretty good.
I have to agree with you on that.
Right, and so many diet, we've got the omega-3 aspect of it, but diet and exercise has long been shown to help your overall mood, which would lend to the basis of your study, really.
Right. So we're going to be measuring depression, anxiety. We're also going to be looking at impulsivity, because omega-3 fatty acids have been shown in other smaller studies to reduce impulsive, say, decision-making.
Bernadette, I've got to stop you there. I don't want to have you cut off right at the end here, but a researcher, Bernadette Marriott with the Medical University of South Carolina, the study starts in January, if I read that correctly, and we'll be finding out information as that study goes on. Good luck with your work, and we hope you're successful.
Thank you.
All right, stick around, everyone. Just after the break, we're going to take a look at Small Lot Wineries, a big festival. This guy's fun. Wait till you hear him. He's the guy behind this festival, and he'll join us in just a moment. For the latest video and information from today's show, head on over to eatdrinkexplore.com. We're constantly updating it with the latest food, beverage, and travel trends. Also, we're launching a new section of the site called California Love. This is where we recommend great companies, and the best part is every single business we feature is locally owned. We've checked them out and are confident you'll love them as much as we do. This is a great tool to have as we head into the holiday shopping season. Since you're already spending money, you might as well support your neighbor. We choose businesses that give back to the community, care about the environment, or use only the freshest local and organic ingredients. They also make their products here, not overseas. Our California Love business recommendation tool is still in the development stages, but will be available very soon at eatdrinkexplore.com. Eat Drink Explore Media, your lifestyle information source.
Hello, this is Julia Louis-Dreyfus, and I want to tell you about my new favorite discovery, Yosemite National Park. I recently went there with my husband and children, and we walked the trails to see the breathtaking waterfalls, admired the grand meadows, and giant sequoias. But the future of our national parks is uncertain. Many challenges face our parks today, from polluted air and water to development threats outside their borders and inadequate funding to protect our national heritage. That's why the National Parks Conservation Association Association recently completed a decade-long assessment of the challenges facing our national parks, along with proposed actions that will ensure our children and grandchildren will be able to enjoy the parks as we have. Our national parks have inspired Americans for nearly 100 years. As we approach the centennial of the National Park Service in 2016, please join us in helping to protect our national park legacy. Find out how at www.npca.org.
What if it wasn't always about getting ahead? What if you didn't care about being on the fast track? What if your career goals were to change? Instead of flying off to the big interview, what if you flew somewhere else altogether? To embark on a different track, to volunteer in ways you never dreamed of, in places you never imagined yourself being. Like a tiny island in the Pacific, barely visible on a map, but where needs are easy to see. Or a village on the African continent, where just a little training in HIV awareness can change the fate of thousands. What if you decided to share your skills with others and help someone else get ahead? Peace Corps. Life is calling. How far will you go? To find out more, call 800-424-8580 or visit peacecorps.gov.
For the latest video and information from today's show, head on over to eatdrinkexplore.com. We're constantly updating it with the latest food, beverage, and travel trends. Also, we're launching a new section of the site called California Love. This is where we recommend great companies, and the best part is every single business we feature is locally owned. We've checked them out and are confident you'll love them as much as we do. This is a great tool to have as we head into the holiday shopping season. Since you're already spending money, you might as well support your neighbor. We choose businesses that give back to the community, care about the environment, or use only the freshest local and organic ingredients. They also make their products here, not overseas. Our California Love business recommendation tool is still in the development stages, but will be available very soon at eatdrinkexplore.com. Eat Drink Explore Media, your lifestyle information source. Okay, good Sunday morning, everyone. Hope your day is off to a fantastic start. It should be pretty much no matter where you are. If you're one of those coastal living people right on water's edge, you're waking up to sunshiny skies. It's that fall weather, and it's even beyond that. It's going to be rather warm today. The sun came up a little earlier than it normally does. It came up at, I don't know what time sunrise was actually. Do you, Patty? It was already getting light around 6 o'clock.
It was about 6.
Yeah, and so 8:33 the time right now. If you have not changed your clocks yet, we did end daylight saving time last night, and we are now on standard time. So great to have you with us, listening to the Eat, Drink, Explore Radio Network. I'm your host, Randall White, joined by the lovely and talented Patty Pyburn, as
Good morning.
always. So this last week, I was in Santa Cruz, and stayed at the Dream Inn, which is owned by Joie de Vivre. It is a hotel chain that just gets it. I now have not stayed at all their properties, but I've stayed at a few. And
I saw the pictures you sent. It looked pretty nice.
Every room at that Dream Inn stares right out at the beautiful Santa Cruz Bay there, or I guess that's Monterey Bay, and the wharf. And you can't really see, not from our room anyway, you couldn't see the beach boardwalk, but it was fantastic. And so one thing that these properties like Joie de Vivre and Kimpton do really well is that they always have a great restaurant that's connected to the hotel. And so we ordered some room service in, and that was the way to do it because the food was fantastic. And we brought our own wine. Very nice. And it was a bottle of Star Ranch out of Paso Robles. It was a Cabernet Reserve from 2009, if I remember correctly. And I took a snapshot of it and the meal and the wine, and I said, okay, put this on your bucket list. Dream Inn and a bottle of Star Ranch, because it was delicious. And Star Ranch is one of those small lot wineries that we have so many of here in California, but they don't always have tasting rooms. Star Ranch has a tasting room, but some of the really small batch do not have tasting rooms. But there's a place that you can go and sample lots of these small lot wineries,
Right.
all in one place, all in one festival. It is called, and I hope I'm saying this correctly, Garagiste or Garagiste? Garagiste. There we go. All right, so the founder of the Garagiste Festival, Stewart McLennan, joins us in the studio right now to talk a little bit about how he got on this track. And welcome to the program.
Glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
And for Crush 92.5 listeners, if his voice sounds familiar, that's because just after our show, an hour after our show, from 11 to noon, you have a program on Crush as well.
Yeah, we have the Garagiste show, which obviously celebrates these small winemakers. I bring them in, similar to what I'm doing here. I'm kind of like on the other side of it now.
Yes.
So, which is great.
And the whole thing is that I didn't even know that connection until moments ago when he was sitting here in studio. So it's not like Crush called me and said, hey, can you have this person on?
Can we double down today?
Right, exactly. No, I had Stewart on because I love the small wineries. And what we were talking about also in studio is that there's a fine line. You don't want to insult the larger wineries or the medium-sized ones, but at some point you have to cut it off. So where's the cutoff for your
the cutoff
festival?
for us is around 1,200 cases. And we said that mainly because most of the people who were approaching us were that or below. And a lot of them, probably 2/3 of them, don't have tasting rooms. At least, probably there's a bigger percentage than that. So that's also kind of a qualification. If you don't really have a presence in the wine world other than us per se, you're allowed in.
So a lot of people might look at the word and say, "What? What
What
does that mean?"
how'd you come up with the name?
Well, let's see. It's a word that was used in the Bordeaux region of France many years ago to describe those who weren't of the chateau, as it were. And what they were doing basically were people who were making wine necessarily in their garages, and it was deemed to be not cool.
Right.
Robert Parker went over there one year, and someone said to him, I remember reading, and they said, well, you don't want to go down the road because they are garagistas. And he said, they're not of the chateau. And he said, well, I'm going anyway. Well, it turns out many of those winemakers are now very famous wineries, small production, obviously.
Yeah.
I love the sound of that word, and I've been in this region now for about 20 years. I've lived up in the North County, so I know a lot of people in the wine business peripherally. The last 3 years or so, I've been in it more directly. But I thought, well, what a great idea to get some of these people together under that sort of label. I ran into my co-founder, Doug Minnick, at a tasting. And originally we were talking about maybe setting up something on the web. And then he said, well, why don't we do a festival? Wouldn't that be great to get them all under one roof?
Right.
So last year, Windfall Farms was gracious enough to give us the facility. So we put them out there at Windfall Farms, and it was fabulous.
That's a nice property. That was part of this big Savor event, too.
They did. I think they did Paso Glow out there.
Right.
Yeah. And the way that works, because I don't know, for people who don't know, it's like a piece of Kentucky landed in California. It's an amazing building, all brick. And this is the old Stallion Barn. So these little stalls, well, they're not little, actually. They're probably twice the size of the studio.
So they're little.
Yeah. Well, they're probably still relatively small. Right. But that said, we put a couple of wineries in each stall. So you can literally go from stall to stall. So when you do walk in there, unlike other wine events where, you've got this huge amount of tables that goes on forever, you've got this little intimate space. So you're walking in. It's I tell you, it works so well, Randall. It's beautiful.
It sounds so cool. And going back to the garage reference, some really big ideas have started in garages.
Yeah, I think there's one in our listening range called HP, and then I think that started in a garage, if I remember correctly.
Well, a lot of winemakers do start out this way. I mean, even if you're working for somebody else and you've got your little label on the side. Now, the term garage is probably a little too broad. I mean, obviously they're in cellars and they're in different facilities, but they're very small production.
You have a video online, Stewart, that is hysterical. I think it's hysterical. I was watching it. It's on YouTube. You can find it really easily. And what he does is he basically takes, this is what is not a garages.
Right.
If your wine silos look like nuclear
nuclear reactors. Well, there's some of them out there. I mean, people are making wine. There's nothing wrong with bulk wine. I like to get a $10 bottle of wine now and again myself.
Right.
That they serve a niche in the market. They get people drinking wine. On the other hand, 10,000 gallon wine. I mean, that's a huge tank of wine.
Sort of hard to control the outcome with something.
Yeah,
that
well,
large,
you're getting into science.
Mm-hmm.
The guys who run those things are very much of the, they're of the science. We're going to do things by the numbers. The garagistes, on the other hand, they're into those barrels every month and they're tasting, and they're very, very hands-on winemaking process.
No, you cannot afford to make a mistake when you're dealing with the amount of gallons that you were mentioning. Whereas when you are making extremely small batches of wine, one mistake isn't going to kill you, and one mistake might actually lead to one of the best bottles you've ever had. Right?
Well, I've done that. I've made that mistake. I thought I could make rosé. And I did one year, and I thought I was the king of rosé, and then subsequently, the following year fell flat on my face, and then I soon found out that was luck. That was not, my, expertise as a winemaker per se. So, you can go either way, and also you've got just quality control.
Yeah.
You're dealing with 10 barrels. When you go into those cellars, and they're just stacked, and there are so many of them. It's the process of just topping them up and going through them. I mean, it's winemaking on an industrial scale, basically.
Now, I would think that super small batch winemakers don't have a lot of wine to just be giving out at a festival to be serving. So how do you deal with that?
Well, in terms of that, what we've tried to say to our winemakers is obviously, and we've had other little tasting events. We do tasting events outside of the Paso Robles region, down in LA. What we say to them is, okay, you need to have a percentage of your wine that you need as a marketing device to get people to taste it. Yeah. Most winemakers want to introduce public to their wine, but they want to introduce the right public to their wine.
Yeah.
So, for example, pouring at a huge festival where there were 10,000 people there, that tends to just become we're just drinking, and there's nothing wrong with them. Ours is much more specifically focused. So when you're there, the chances of you actually talking to the winemaker and making that relationship are far greater than they would ever be at the majority of festivals. So what we're saying to those winemakers is, well, this is your chance to get your following.
It's like the farmers market of wine festivals.
It is. It's great.
Right,
you
meet
the makers, and then you go every week. You go, well, I go and get Johnny Bloggs' tomatoes because I know he makes the best. He grows the best tomatoes. And that's the sort of thing, that's the kind of relationship you want to develop as a winemaker, I think, is a following where people, you said Star Ranch earlier. Yeah. I know Judy Star, I've known it for a long time. The cab from that area is fantastic. And, very small production. And you go out there and it's just, wow, this is so special. You're opening a bottle of wine that not the rest of the world is probably even going to ever see.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And there's great value in that to me.
And I think she can read the people that come in the tasting room and whether they're like ready to buy a bottle of her wine or they're just there to, like you said, like to throw back
taste.
a bunch.
Right.
It's like, all right.
Yeah, well, you get those, the purple teethers in the limousines and all of that,
Oh, I like that.
We get those.
Not if they use Kimberly Walker's wine wipes. Kimberly's right around the corner here.
Very good. Very handy.
So you just wipe it right on your teeth and get the purple stain right off.
And then they can't tell who you are.
Right.
No, they can't tell you've been to 15 wineries before. You might stumble out of the limo or something like that. But,
a little giveaway there.
Yeah.
How many wineries will be there this year?
48 this year.
Whoa.
So, I mean, in terms of, to be really honest, it would probably take you longer than the tasting to get round all of them.
Right.
But in terms of the crowd and the way it sets up, everyone pretty much goes to wherever they want to go and taste whatever they want to taste.
You say it perfectly for me, so I'm going to have you say it one last time. It is called?
Garagiste.
And you can find it online at California Garagistes, plural.com. And we have a link for that at eatdrinkexplore.com right there under our program summaries, or you can just simply Google it, and it is spelled just as it sounds. So, and people are like, well, how does that sound? I'm not sure. But at any rate, just go to eatdrinkexplore.com and go to the program summaries under our radio tab. It's very easy to find. 8:40 for the time. Stewart McLennan, co-founder of Garagiste, thank you so much for joining us in studio.
Thank you very much for having me. A wonderful, wonderful program. Look forward to seeing you again.
Absolutely. And stick around for his show coming up a few hours from now. You're listening to the Eat, Drink, Explore Radio Network. And we're back in just a moment.
We're at it.
Wherever you turn this election,
Complex new
it's hard to ignore the ads.
California family by
They're
hundreds of dollars
everywhere.
per year.
Like that campaign from Dow, Monsanto, and foreign chemical companies spending millions trying to protect their profits and hide what they're doing to our food. But when you tune in to what's really happening, Prop 37 just gives us the right to know if our food is genetically engineered. 37 is about a simple label that doesn't cost a dime. So it's won the support of consumers, doctors, farmers, and so many others. So when you hear those ads, remember they're funded by Monsanto, Dow, and foreign chemical companies trying to sell more pesticides. Yes, on 37. It's Californians versus the corporations. Shouldn't we have the right to know what's in our food? Proudly paid for by Yes on 37 for your right to know if your food has been genetically engineered. Supported by consumer advocates, makers of organic products, and California farmers. Major funding by Mercola.com Health Resources LLC and the Organic Consumers Fund.
Salisbury Vineyards at the Schoolhouse in Avila Valley has an incredible lineup for Slow Wine Country's Rock and Harvest celebration all day Sunday, November 4th. Beginning bright and early, our Salisbury family is hosting the biannual Hair of the Dog Pancake Breakfast from 9:30 to 11, and we'll have our famous backward mimosas too. From 1 to 4, Salisbury Vineyards has talent from Hollywood with Andrea Calderwood and trio Sequence. These young performers are the faces you're likely to see soon on some of America's favorite new music competitions, so come early to get good seats. For the show, Salisbury Wines and Confusion Culinaries tasty dishes will be available for purchase. These events are open to the public and are free for Salisbury Wine Club members and participants attending one of Slow Wine Country Rock and Harvest celebrations. Find details for all Salisbury Vineyards events at salisburyvineyards.com or give us a call at 805-595-WINE.
Seems everybody's going organic, including lawn care. Did you know communities across the country are converting their lawns, playgrounds, and playing fields to an organic care program? And it's working. You can safely control weeds and pests and have a beautiful lawn. Your kids, pets, and water supplies will be safer, and your neighbors will be green with envy. Oh, and in the long run, organic lawn care is cheaper than doing it the conventional way. Switch to organic lawn care today. Visit pesticidefreelawns.org. The folks who brought you this public service message. Check out pesticidefreelawns.org today.
Across the nation, people are stepping up for their mothers, fathers, husbands, wives, partners, sisters, and brothers. They're leading the way and walking to end Alzheimer's, the 6th leading cause of death in the nation. Together, we can reclaim the future. Walk to end Alzheimer's. Start a team. Join a team. Go to alz.org.
For the latest video and information from today's show, head on over to eatdrinkexplore.com. We're constantly updating it with the latest food, beverage, and travel trends. Also, we're launching a new section of the site called California Love. This is where we recommend great companies, and the best part is every single business we feature is locally owned. We've checked them out and are confident you'll love them as much as we do. This is a great tool to have as we head into the holiday shopping season. Since you're already spending money, you might as well support your neighbor. We choose businesses that give back to the community, care about the environment, or use only the freshest local and organic ingredients. They also make their products here, not overseas. Our California Love business recommendation tool is still in the development stages, but will be available very soon at eatdrinkexplore.com. Eat Drink Explore Media, your lifestyle information source.
You've waited all week, and it's finally here. The Eat, Drink, Explore Weekly Travel Deals Extravaganza.
And very good morning, everyone. 8:49 the time now on this Sunday. You know, we had that wonderful conversation there with Stewart regarding the Garagiste Festival coming up, and we never said when it was. Sorry about that.
Small detail.
November 10th. November 10th at Windfall Farms there in Paso Robles. So what is that, next Saturday? This coming Saturday?
Yeah.
November
Wow.
10th.
Already.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Okay, so like Monica just said there, it is time for our wonderful Travel Deals segment. This is when we hear insight from the best of the best, the gurus of bargains, the luminaries of budget travel. And this week we welcome back to the program our good friend Gabe Saglie with Travelzoo. Hello, Gabe.
Hey, guys. Good to be with you.
Likewise. You have so many to get through on this segment here that I want you to dive right in, starting with the Palace Hotel in San Francisco. I've stayed there, and it is a wonderful property.
Well, this is, I'm sure you have, because these are guys are famous for hosting presidents and royalty.
Of course.
This is a great downtown location, as you know, upscale 4-diamond property, 40% off now, down to $149. Now, specifically for travel during the Thanksgiving and Christmas holidays. So a lot of these big city hotels, like in San Francisco, will actually select the Thanksgiving week and Christmas week to, as business travel slows down considerably, to load up rooms with the leisure travelers at a bargain price. So $149 at the Palace, great deal there. And speaking of luxury, further down the coast in Beverly Hills, now people, think about going to the Beverly Hills to do a little bit of holiday shopping, even if it's just the window kind.
The window version is all I could afford, but it's still fun. Yes.
This is the iconic 4-star Beverly Hilton Hotel. This is where they do the Golden Globes, where they have the pre-party for the Grammys. I had a meal once at a place called Circa 55, one of their 4 restaurants. Delicious meal. $199 a night. Rates usually start at about $365, but down to $199 for travel through February, including weekends. And what I love about this deal is that it includes $25 in minibar credits, plus 25% off all spa treatments as well. So a great place there in Beverly Hills, right at the leading edge of Beverly Hills.
Yeah, the Beverly Hilton is such an iconic property, and I think even their sign, people take pictures in front of the sign.
Yeah. Just to say they were there.
If I remember correctly. There's always a good deal to be had right out the 10 there from, if you're in Beverly Hills, you can just
head over to Vegas, baby.
Exactly.
The thing with Las Vegas, it continues to be one of the top domestic value destinations. Now, if you avoid holiday weekends, so prices naturally will go up over a couple of days around Thanksgiving. Certainly around Christmas, New Year's, expensive place to stay. But otherwise, bargains galore. This is the Las Vegas Hotel and Casino. This used to be the headquarters for the King, Elvis Presley, back in the day. 12 restaurants on site, the monorail just down the way that you can take it to the heart of the Strip. But great deal here, $45 a night to stay at the Las Vegas Hotel and Casino.
Wow,
$45.
A couple of free cocktails, $30 in dining credits, 25% off spa treatments. It's almost cheaper to stay here than not to. And that's for travel November through January, so a couple of months now to take advantage of that.
Wait a minute. Okay, wait. If you subtract the $30 dining credit, you're at $15, and then 2 cocktails,
Let's say that's about $15, and then 25% off all. Yeah, and you know what? It's almost like you're staying there. They're paying you to stay there in a way.
They just want to get you there.
They just want to get you there.
So you can win all their money.
Yeah, I'll tell you, spend a little bit more money once you're actually there.
Yeah, something tells me they'll make it back, but
yeah, the odds are with them. So you have a deal for us in Scottsdale,
and this is Patty's home turf originally.
So this property, one of the nicer places to stay. This is the 5-diamond 4 Seasons Resort, Scottsdale at Troon North. Luxury, personified here. 3 restaurants, a couple of 18-hole championship golf courses, pools. It's a family-friendly, place. The restaurants, kids under 5 eat for free. They've got a children's pool there, so you could do this as a family getaway. Now, 50% off now, down to $269 for travel mid-November through January the 6th. After that, prices throughout the Southwest do go up because everybody seeks out that great winter weather out there.
Yeah.
But between now and then, $269, that comes with a double upgrade to one of their casita rooms, private patio, deep soaking tub. So although the price was a little bit higher at $269, that's still half off what you'd usually pay to stay at the Four Seasons there in Scottsdale.
Now they call it a deep soaking tub. Is that what we just call like a
big bathtub?
Jacuzzi?
A jacuzzi?
Right.
It's actually a pool, but for
Wow.
Four Seasons, that's a deep soaking tub.
Yeah, I like that. That's I love when you could put a spin just using words. It does sound so much better.
Very appealing.
People get paid a lot of money to write this stuff. Now let's head overseas and a place that I've always wanted to go, France.
Yeah, this is at a time of year when we start to see really aggressive bargains to Europe, and including a place like Cannes in France and down in the Côte d'Azur in the southern French Riviera. This is a place called the Hotel Cannes Riviera, boutique hotel right there in the Côte d'Azur, 2 blocks from La Croisette, which is a very popular bustling shopping and dining promenade. Hop, skip, and a jump away from the beach there. $79 a night to stay here through March, including New Year's Eve, and breakfast is included with this deal. $79. Cannes, of course, is where all the celebs go for doing the Cannes Film Festival.
Yeah.
I stayed in Cannes once, not at this particular place. And you can hop on the train and you can visit Monaco down the way. You can visit Nice. I mean, it's just a beautiful. Now, obviously, this travel period, the weather is not necessarily warm and balmy. It is winter season, which is why prices drop so dramatically. But still, you're enjoying one of the most beautiful places in Europe at a fraction of the cost.
Nice is nice, I hear.
Nice is nice. Well, you can say that.
Ooh, boom, boom. Good one for you, Patty. Yes.
All right. So where are we heading next, Gabe?
Montego Bay.
Okay.
Jamaica. And here's another example of a destination where prices peak during the winter months. So you can get to a place like Montego Bay before prime season, right? It starts during the holiday period into the first couple of months of the year.
And after hurricane season, so that's important.
And you're enjoying, where hurricane season, obviously, it's supposed to end at the end of November. So if you can get this deal end of November, by December 20th, you're a winner. The Four Diamond Hilton Rose Hall Resort and Spa, right on the beach there near Montego Bay. They're home to the largest water park in the Caribbean, lazy river, 3 pools. They got 5 restaurants. They got a championship golf course. It's an all-inclusive property and one of the more popular all-inclusives in Montego Bay. $109 per person per night to stay through December the 20th. So, if you got a special occasion coming up, you've got some time to burn off before the end of the year. This is just one of the really great destinations there in the Caribbean.
Or, do a little twist on the traditional Christmas and just take it a week early, and
that's it, yeah.
And head on over. That sounds like fun. Gabe, I can't believe it. You did it.
That's what I was going to say. We got through them all.
We did get through them all.
But
now,
he has more.
He does. He has tons more. But unfortunately, if you want those, you'll have to tune in. In just a little bit, you'll be on the CW in Sacramento, right?
Yeah, CW31. And good morning. Good day, Sacramento.
Good day, Sacramento. So all of you Sacramento Valley listeners,
we have his link on our site, right?
We do. Travelzoo, the top 20. We link it right there. Gabe Saglie, always full of great information. You catch him the first Sunday of the month right here on Eat, Drink, Explore Radio. Thank you, Gabe.
Hey, thanks, guys. Happy travel.
All right, stick around, everyone. Our Compass Hour is up next, and the word is sand. And based on that word, we're going to meet the Sandman, or the people that study the Sandman, the Stanford Sleep Center, to get the best of your sleep with this time change and everything. You're listening to the Eat, Drink, Explore Radio Network, and we're back in just a moment. The Eat, Drink, Explore radio show is currently in a local commercial break. We will be back shortly. Get the latest audio, video, and breaking news from Eat, Drink, Explore Media by following us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. We're easy to find. The URL extension for all of those sites is simply Eat, Drink, Explore. Thank you for your patience. The Eat, Drink, Explore radio show is currently in a local commercial break, and we'll be back on the air shortly. The Eat, Drink, Explore radio show is currently in a local commercial break. We will be back shortly. Get the latest audio, video, and breaking news from Eat, Drink, Explore Media by following us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. We're easy to find. The URL extension for all of those sites is simply Eat, Drink, Explore. Thank you for your patience. The Eat, Drink, Explore radio show is currently in a local commercial break, and we'll be back on the air shortly.
You're listening to the Eat, Drink, Explore Radio Network. Now here's the host of our show, Mr. Randall White.
And a very good Sunday morning to you. It is now 9 o'clock on what will turn out to be just an absolutely beautiful day up and down the California coastline and inland into the valleys, up to the Sierra Nevada.
Be nice.
All across the board. I even checked Arcata, where I went to school at Humboldt State University,
right,
as well as here at Cal Poly just down the road. But even Arcata is going to be in the mid-60s today with sunshine. So, and they're in the middle of a rainforest. It's a moderate, or not a tropical rainforest, but, but it rains all the time. So, good morning, everyone. I'm your host, Randall White, joined by Patty Pyburn.
Good morning.
A big, gigantic thank you to our sponsor for this hour of the Eat, Drink, Explore Radio Network. It's Eberly Winery in Paso Robles, open daily, and that would include today, from 10 until 6 o'clock at night. So you have 1 hour to, get ready, finish what you're doing at home, and then head on up to the fine folks at Eberly and take advantage of their complimentary wine tasting and cave tours. Voted by the great folks at Wine Spectator as one of the best tours on the entire Central Coast. So how can you say no? You're within, if you're listening on the radio right now, you can make it to Eberly. I guess, well, for some of you, it would be several hours. Yeah. So
but it's a nice sunny drive.
Exactly.
Great weather for it.
For sure. Eberly is located on 46 East in Paso Robles. You can log on to eberlywinery.com. Actually, I just thought about it. If you're listening on the radio right now, this is our Crush 92.5 segment.
Oh, then you're even closer.
You're very close. You can make it there. You can get
do it.
Eberly today, and we hope that you do. Another place that we would highly encourage you go today is the Chemistry of Cocktails event, and that is being held at the Exploration Station in beautiful Grover Beach, which used to be called Grover City.
Yes. It is Grover Beach.
Back in the day.
And the Exploration Station is right on Ramona Avenue. They're just a block or so off of Grand.
And you've been to the Exploration Station, in fact.
Yes, many times.
Many times, because you've done stories there and such. And this is their big fundraiser.
Yeah, this Chemistry of Cocktails is for the big people. Most of the events at the Exploration Station are for the little ones. But this is one of their key fundraisers that helps them, keep going. And it's lots of fun. And I'm not sure how many restaurants will be represented, but quite a few mixing up some very fun cocktails.
Well, here's the whole thing. If you're listening right now, we will be giving away a pair of tickets to this event coming up in our next segment. At the end of the trivia segment, we will be giving away a couple, and we'll have you call in to our line to win these tickets. And we just ask that you can actually go if you call and
right, so the tickets are used.
Exactly, and take advantage of it because it is a wonderful event. I was going to be a judge for the event. Patty Pyburn is going to be a judge for the event, but I have a cold. I can't taste, and so that doesn't make sense. And then I really don't want to pass it on to everyone that I would meet there or see there. So it's one of those. It feels like a summertime cold, but no, it's November.
It is.
It is like summer outside right now. Hey, we've got so much coming up this hour. If you have a hard time sleeping at all, you know that just changing the clock by 1 hour can throw off your already sort of battered sleep cycle. So we will be speaking with experts up at the Stanford Sleep Center. They really know everything when it comes to, they're trying to learn everything, but
they're the experts.
They're the experts when it comes to sleep patterns, and we'll talk about this hour time change and what you can do to help mitigate the problems from it. Now, this is the good one.
Yeah, this is the one that's a little easier to take, the fallback.
But depending on when you have to go to bed and that sort of thing, it can still mess you up with the daylight. And so we'll find out all of that and a lot more coming up. You're listening to the Eat, Drink, Explore Radio Network. You can find us online at eatdrinkexplore.com. For the latest video and information from today's show, head on over to eatdrinkexplore.com. We're constantly updating it with the latest food, beverage, and travel trends. Also, we're launching a new section of the site called California Love. This is where we recommend great companies, and the best part is every single business we feature is locally owned. We've checked them out and are confident you'll love them as much as we do. This is a great tool to have as we head into the holiday shopping season. Since you're already spending money, you might as well support your neighbor. We choose businesses that give back to the community, care about the environment, or use only the freshest local and organic ingredients. They also make their products here, not overseas. Our California Love business recommendation tool is still in the development stages, but will be available very soon at eatdrinkexplore.com. Eat Drink Explore Media, your lifestyle information source.
You're listening to the Eat, Drink, Explore Radio Network, live every Sunday with the very latest food, beverage, and travel trends.
Fabulous.
Now here's the host of our show, Mr. Randall White.
Good Sunday morning, everyone. 9:06 the time right now. Double check that clock if you've just turned on your radio and you haven't yet adjusted the clocks in your house.
Do it now before you get mixed up.
And for this is the time of year when, if this is the first time you've heard of it, that's when you go, oh, right on. It's
yeah, extra hour.
I get an extra hour. It's not 10:06. It's 9:06. Yeah. It's the other side of this coin that I really can't
If
stand.
you don't know, you might be late for work or school or
this is the time when you just show up an hour early.
Yes. Not the worst. Not the worst thing that could happen.
No. So good morning, everyone. I am Randall White, joined by Patty Pyburn, and great to have you joining us here on the radio or online or via your app. However you're catching the Eat, Drink, Explore radio show, we appreciate you do. We do discuss all things food, wine, travel, tourism in a healthy and sustainable manner. This is our Compass Hour. And this is when we take one word and then use it to figure out who all our guests will be, our trivia questions, all that sort of thing. And this Sunday, can you imagine one word for the whole year? This Sunday, it is sand. And we got plenty of sand in California, that is for sure. And so based on sand, we will take a look at the time change. You know, Sandman. He's the one that puts the sand in your eyelids so that you fall asleep at night. And we'll find out from the folks at the Stanford Sleep Center great tips so that you can get the best out of your rest time, and how just a 1 hour change can throw off your rhythm, you know, and mess with you.
So cue the Sandman music.
I don't have any.
No.
Is there Mr.
Bring Me a Dream?
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah, that's a good one. I forgot about that. Yes. I should have pulled that up. Also, tickets to give away for today's Chemistry of Cocktails event in Grover Beach. At the end of our trivia section here, we will explain what that event is and how you can go there for free. And then finally, the host of the Travel Channel's Sand Masters joins us with tips on playing in the sand. Also, where in California here, you can check out some of their amazing sand sculptures. And if you've ever seen the show on the Travel Channel, you know that it is indeed a lot of fun. But it is time right now at 9:08. 9:08, that's right. Just switching over to 9:09 for our trivia question moment of the show. And this is where Patty and I test each other's knowledge. And today, everything is based on the word sand. And we'll let Patty go first, as always.
Okay. What weighs more? This is perfectly in line with the upcoming segment about sandcastles.
Okay.
What weighs more, a bucket of wet sand or a bucket of dry sand?
Ooh, that's a good one. Just because you would think it would be wet, I'm going to go dry. And so I'm going to say a bucket of dry sand.
And you would be right.
Really? Because water weighs less than sand?
Water weighs less than sand, displaces some of the sand. You don't get as much actual sand particles in the bucket with water.
Right.
So that one which seems counterintuitive, weighs less than the dry sand.
That's a great, I like that.
Okay.
All right, so every August, the Monterey coastal artist community of Sand City, it's primarily an industrial city, but an artist...
I almost went with a Sand City question, and I'm glad I passed that one up. So go ahead.
Oh, good. Yes, there has been one time that we both came up with the same question, but the Sand City holds a street fair every August. What is this annual event called? Is it the Sand City Arts and Wine Festival, Fiesta Arenas, which is Festival of Sand, or the West End Celebration?
I should know this because I lived up there for 5 or 6 years.
I told that to Anthony, our producer. I said, I think she might get this because
the Festival of Sand?
I'm sorry, Patty.
No?
No, it is called the West End Celebration.
Okay.
They call themselves Soho West.
Okay.
And so, according to the city's website, the West End Celebration is an exciting blend of art and industry in a newly transformed area of the city dubbed Soho West. The celebration features live music, dance, street performances, as well as great food, and of course, the creative wares of local artists and artisans.
It's a cool little spot. Stress on little. But
it's tiny.
It's just tucked in there near Seaside. It's really cute little place.
So there you have it. Me one, Patty none.
Okay. You might get this one.
Okay.
Where are the tallest sand dunes in North America? California, Arizona, Colorado.
They are in California, and they are the Eureka Dunes in Death Valley National Park. I'm right so far, correct?
No, National Geographic disagrees with you.
Huh?
The tallest sand dunes in North America are at the base of Sangre de Cristo Mountains in Colorado. They rise 750 feet off the floor of the San Luis Valley at the western base of the Sangre de Cristo, I don't know if I'm saying that right, range.
Yeah, you are. It's the blood of Christ.
Okay, well, researchers say that they started forming 440,000 years ago.
Now that I think about it.
I thought your Colorado background would have given that one away. I know you did the sand dunes.
And I've been to the place that you're talking about also. Yeah, I did the Eureka Dunes.
The singing sand dunes, right?
The singing sand dunes, yeah. They're the tallest in California. And they said that based on when you... Because, sand dunes are always shifting.
Yes.
And based on when you measure them and all that sort of thing, that... there's been times theirs have been measured taller, but that I forgot about that. Yes.
Sorry, I tricked you. I actually thought you would get it.
Well, the funny thing is my question was about the Eureka Dunes. So now we will switch to my other one. This one, I think you'll be able to get if you just... I wish the waiting music was a little bit longer, but name 5 California cities or towns. Okay? They have to be designated cities or towns.
5 California cities or towns.
With the word beach included in the name, because we all know beaches are made up of sand.
Okay.
So 5 cities
Grover
or
Beach.
towns. Okay, Grover Beach.
Pismo Beach.
Yes. Uh-huh.
Can I say Shell Beach? It's not really actually a city.
Nope.
Grover Beach.
You're at 2.
Oh my gosh.
I think Southern California. Oh, okay.
Pacific Beach.
Oh, Patty.
Venice Beach.
Yeah, we have to give you the boo. No, there are 13 cities or towns that have the word beach. The largest is Long Beach. At,
duh.
At 460,000 people.
How did I miss Long Beach?
I don't know.
I couldn't take the pressure of that music.
The smallest is Pismo Beach at 7,600 residents.
Oh, wow.
Grover, Hermosa, Huntington, Imperial, Laguna, Manhattan, Newport, Redondo, Seal, and Solana make up the rest.
It's so many choices.
Some places, some people are going, what about Stinson Beach in the Bay Area?
Is it not actually a city?
It's a census-designated area only.
Okay,
so we're going to have to hold off on
we're out of time
on the rest of them because we need to take this final minute of this segment to give away
some tickets away.
A couple of tickets to the wonderful Chemistry of Cocktails event. And you can do that a couple of ways. You can call our 805 number, which is 805-545-0332.
Okay.
So 805-545-0332.
Okay.
Or if you're outside the 805 area code, you can give our number 855, which is a
it's like an 800 number, right? I hear the phone's ringing
it's already ringing. We're going to take caller number 4. And so you still have time because we only have one line at a time that can go. So you can call the 800 number 8. It's 855 Randall, RANDOL, Randall, and then the number 8. 855 Randall 8. or 805-545-0332. You're listening to the Eat, Drink, Explore Radio Network. A couple of tickets to the Chemistry of Cocktails event in Grover Beach. One of the ones Patty did get.
Yes.
We're back in just a moment.
Salisbury Vineyards at the Schoolhouse in Avila Valley has an incredible lineup for Slow Wine Country's Rock and Harvest celebration, all day Sunday, November 4th. Beginning bright and early, our Salisbury family is hosting the biannual Hair of the Dog Pancake Breakfast from 9:30 to 11, and we'll have our famous backward mimosas too. From 1 to 4, Salisbury Vineyards has talent from Hollywood with Andrea Calderwood and trio Sequence. These young performers are the faces you're likely to see soon on some of America's favorite new music competitions, so come early to get good seats. For the show, Salisbury Wines and Confusion Culinaries tasty dishes will be available for purchase. These events are open to the public and are free for Salisbury Wine Club members and participants attending one of Slow Wine Country Rock and Harvest celebrations. Find details for all Salisbury Vineyards events at salisburyvineyards.com or give us a call at 805-595-WINE.
That perfectly cooked egg, or just a hot cup of coffee. Maybe breakfast is a full bowl of cereal and some fresh orange juice. But whatever you're eating, you want to know what's in your food. That's why so many of us, from the California Nurses to Sierra Club to the Consumer Federation of America, say yes to Proposition 37. 37 just gives us the right to know if genetically engineered ingredients are in our food. Prop 37 puts simple information on packaging, so we know what we're really eating. These genetically engineered foods are already labeled in nearly 50 other countries. We just want the right to know what's in our food. Join us in voting yes on 37. Find out more at carighttoKnow.org. Paid for by Yes on 37 for your right to know if your food has been genetically engineered. Supported by consumer advocates, makers of organic products, and California farmers. Major funding by Mercola.com Health Resources, LLC, and the Organic Consumers Fund.
I don't recycle. I mean, we can just find another planet for your kids to live on, you know?
Noted non-recycler Tommy Crenshaw talks about the future.
Oh, I can totally see finding another planet that can support life when ours fills up with trash.
Log on to YouGottaBeKidding.org and learn about all the ways you can recycle, unless you're into lame excuses like Tommy's.
Hey, recycling's just not my thing. Starting over on a new planet? Now that's exciting.
Don't be that guy, unless you want people looking at you funny. Log on to YouGottaBeKidding.org.
Across the nation, people are stepping up for their mothers, fathers, husbands, wives, partners, sisters, and brothers. They're leading the way and walking to end Alzheimer's, the 6th leading cause of death in the nation. Together, we can reclaim the future. Walk to end Alzheimer's. Start a team. Join a team. Go to alz.org.
For the latest video and information from today's show, head on over to eatdrinkexplore.com. We're constantly updating it with the latest food, beverage, and travel trends. Also, we're launching a new section of the site called California Love. This is where we recommend great companies, and the best part is every single business we feature is locally owned. We've checked them out and are confident you'll love them as much as we do. This is a great tool to have as we head into the holiday shopping season. Since you're already spending money, you might as well support your neighbor. We choose businesses that give back to the community, care about the environment, or use only the freshest local and organic ingredients. They also make their products here, not overseas. Our California Love business recommendation tool is still in the development stages, but will be available very soon at eatdrinkexplore.com. Eat, Drink, Explore Media, your lifestyle information source. Hey, good morning, everyone. 9:19. Yes, 9:19. Now the time on this first day of standard time in North America. I'm your host, Randall White, joined by Patty Pyburn.
Good morning.
Here on Eat, Drink, Explore Radio. We come to you live. Yeah, this is a live television show, which is why occasionally you hear mistakes, and why we can also give away tickets on the air, because you can only do that if it's live, right? Congratulations to Jillian Dubois. Jillian won 2 tickets to the Chemistry of Cocktails event held.
Yes, today from 2 to 5 in Grover Beach at the Exploration Station.
Yeah, and it's their big fundraiser of the year. So Jillian, by the way, Jillian lives in Los Osos,
Yes.
which is an easy drive. I figured most of our calls would come from the San Luis Obispo County region because,
Right.
you know, you don't want to have to hop in the car to drive, especially to a cocktail event.
Well, it depends on how motivated you are.
Right. Right. And so, Jillian, you might want to tell your friends about it there in Los Osos because I know one of the reasons why they give away tickets is to sort of generate, you know,
Get the buzz going, get people
right?
to join in.
Maybe get a foursome to go there.
Yeah.
And that would be a lot of fun. You might want to have a designated driver as well. Jillian Dubois, congratulations. And thank you so much for listening to Eat, Drink, Explore Radio. We appreciate that very much. Okay. There was something I was going to mention during this segment that happened in Santa Cruz. What was it? Or no.
It was in
Oakland. In Oakland. Oh, in Oakland. Yes. Okay. So on Wednesday, I went. Thank you, Anthony. On Wednesday, I went to see the San Francisco Giants victory celebration and parade. And let me tell you, what a day. It was so much fun. And I don't know about you listening at home right now or in your car or wherever you are. Are you Patty Pyburn? But when Tony Bennett came out and started singing, I was like, okay.
Over the moon.
Yes, they just pulled out the final stop, and I got super teary-eyed. I mean, I was just like, you know, I mean, you're celebrating, you're in such a great mood.
So emotional.
This is so fantastic for the state of California and the city and everything. And then all of a sudden, here comes out this crooner who just still
pulls the heartstrings.
He's still going strong, which I just think is fantastic. And so, at any rate, we were staying over in Oakland, and we had to make the trip into the city on BART, and the BART trains were so jam-packed we couldn't get on. So we thought, well, we'll just wait until it starts to die off a little bit. So we went into the Oakland Marriott there. It's right downtown, and it's a great hotel. It's a lot of fun, and the bartender was nice enough. It wasn't open yet. He opened it up so that we could have like a Bloody Mary or what have you. And we got done with those, and then we went to go catch the BART train, and we're literally kind of wandering around downtown Oakland there. Here comes this bartender running up with my backpack that had an iPad in it, an iPhone, my wallet.
How nice.
Right. Had everything in it. And he goes, you're going to need this. And then Anthony tried to give him like $20 to say thank you so much.
A tip.
And he said no. And I was like,
oh, that's really nice.
So he needed to be I think publicly thanked for that because
he's your hero.
Right. I mean, I just
really
thought that
nice.
was so cool. So that was at the Oakland Marriott in downtown Oakland, and I just thought that was really cool. Later in the day, we ate at a bar called Absinthe, and it's one of San Francisco's top 10 restaurants. And every single thing we had there was good. I am not a pate person. I do not like pate, but my friend Chris said, you're having this, try it, put it on there. And I was like, I don't want it. And then I had one, and then I had two, and then I had three, and then I had four.
Okay, so you might be a pate person now.
I guess at Absinthe I will, because that was just absolutely delicious. And then to top it all off, this is my last little moment about my trip. We were at a little once again bar called Marlena's.
I'm seeing a theme
in Hayes Valley, which I love Hayes Valley. That's where Absinthe is also. And we ran into this guy. I'm talking to him. He asked what I do, and I tell him about Eat, Drink, Explore Radio and our show and all that kind of stuff. And he goes, "Well, you might like what I do then, because I'm in kind of like a media thing too. So if you want a tour of where I work, that'd be great." And I go, I'd be happy to do it. And I go, oh, well, where do you work? He goes, Pixar. And I'm like, what? Pixar? Because that's in Emeryville, and that happened to be where we were staying.
Just this little place.
Just this little place called Pixar. We've made, 10 of the top 10 cartoons that have been released within the last 20 years. And so they don't give public tours of Pixar.
You have to know someone.
Yeah. And so, unfortunately, it was my wedding anniversary the next day. I needed to get back to San Luis Obispo.
Yes,
and so
or you would have been in trouble.
I would have been in trouble. And so I gave him a ring. He goes, no problem. Anytime you want.
Oh, how awesome.
So we'll see if we can't take some undercover photos while we're there and then share them here on the radio.
Yeah, good thing you didn't mention that on the radio and tip them off.
Exactly. Okay, so as we mentioned at the top of this segment, it is 9:24 right now standard time, which means we've once again changed the clocks in my opinion, this ridiculous ritual that we do twice a year. And it can really mess up with your
internal clock.
Your internal clock, even just 1 hour. Well, I started thinking I'm always ranting about this. Even when I was a news anchor with Patty, I just find the whole practice ridiculous. And so I thought, well, maybe I can get a scientist on my side. I'll call the Stanford Sleep Center and ask them. And even if they don't agree with me, they can give us some tips on getting a better night's sleep. We can all use that.
Right.
And so in keeping with our compass word, sand, this is our little Sandman segment. And we bring in sleep expert Dr. Clete Cushida. He is with the Stanford Sleep Center there in Palo Alto. And a very good day to you, sir.
Good morning.
Hi, doctor. So, first of all, does 1 hour make a difference?
Well, that's a good question. It's sort of yes and no. A lot of people, would be used to switching, for 1 hour, but there's some people that are, more sensitive to a 1 hour time change, and those are, those that are particularly older or have medical problems, sleep disorders, that they might, have a difficulty with a 1 hour time change.
Yeah, and I was mentioning this to Patty, my co-host here, that 1 hour for us, for her still, but for when we were both on an overnight morning anchor schedule, I had to get up at 2:50 in the morning, and it was already hard for me to fall asleep at night, and that 1 hour really threw me off, especially in the spring.
Yeah, that can happen. There are some things that can make it a little easier to adjust, to the time zone change. And an example of that is, number one, to try and once a time change occurs, try to get to that time as quickly as possible. In fact, some people, even before the time change, they kind of adjust, gradually to the time zone change by shifting, their bedtime and the waking time by about 15 minutes. So that can help as well. But probably the most important thing is bright light. And within 5 minutes of getting up at the desired bedtime, the best thing is to expose yourself to about 30 minutes of bright light. And that can mean, going outside for 30 minutes, or if it's dark outside, to use a lamp. And, there are these bright light lamps that are available, through the internet. And the main thing is, to get the light exposure. These bright lamps generate about maybe 10,000 lux, which is a desired intensity of light.
Sort of like almost like mimicking the sun. Mm-hmm.
Now, doctor, I have a question for you. My schedule recently changed where I'm already getting up in the middle of the night at 2 a.m. and then my work schedule was shifted, so I'm getting up at 1 a.m. And that hour change for me made a huge difference. It's nearly impossible for me to wake up at 1. It seems like the most impossible task. So does it matter like where in the day your shift happens? Are you more sensitive to it at a certain time, like than say 6 in the morning?
Yeah, what happens is, for a person's sleep cycle, the most intense or deep sleep occurs in the first third of the sleep period. So in that first third, it's rather difficult for the person to get up. Mm-hmm. But as the night progresses, in the latter 2/3, it's they go into lighter sleep. They do have REM sleep, which gets longer, during the night, and those REM periods get a little more intense through the night as well. So if you wake up in the REM period, you might remember your dreams and feel a little groggy.
Right. Dr. Cushida, we are going to have you hold on through the commercial break because I want to know how diet and also exercise might play into all of this. And you mentioned like going to sleep 15 minutes earlier. That takes a lot of planning.
Yes.
And I think most of us can't do that. Dr. Clete Cushida with the Stanford Sleep Center. He's joining us, and we'll be back in just a moment. For the latest video and information from today's show, head on over to eatdrinkexplore.com. We're constantly updating it with the latest food, beverage, and travel trends. Also, we're launching a new section of the site called California Love. This is where we recommend great companies, and the best part is every single business we feature is locally owned. We've checked them out and are confident you'll love them as much as we do. This is a great tool to have as we head into the holiday shopping shopping season. Since you're already spending money, you might as well support your neighbor. We choose businesses that give back to the community, care about the environment, or use only the freshest local and organic ingredients. They also make their products here, not overseas. Our California Love business recommendation tool is still in the development stages, but will be available very soon at eatdrinkexplore.com. Eat, Drink, Explore Media, your lifestyle information source. For the latest video and information from today's show, head on over to eatdrinkexplore.com. We're constantly updating it with the latest food, beverage, and travel trends. Also, we're launching a new section of the site called California Love. This is where we recommend great companies, and the best part is every single business we feature is locally owned. We've checked them out and are confident you'll love them as much as we do. This is a great tool to have as we head into the holiday shopping season. Since you're already spending money, you might as well support your neighbor. We choose businesses that give back to the community, care about the environment, or use only the freshest local and organic ingredients. They also make their products here, not overseas. Our California Love business recommendation tool is still in the development stages, but will be available very soon at eatdrinkexplore.com. Eat, Drink, Explore Media, your lifestyle information source.
Hello, this is Julia Louis-Dreyfus, and I want to tell you about my new favorite discovery, Yosemite National Park. I recently went there with my husband and children, and we walked the trails to see the breathtaking waterfalls, admired the grand meadows, and giant sequoias. But the future of our national parks is uncertain. Many challenges face our parks today, from polluted air and water to development threats outside their borders and inadequate funding to protect our national heritage. That's why the National Parks Conservation Association recently completed a decade-long assessment of the challenges facing our national parks, along with proposed actions that will ensure our children and grandchildren will be able to enjoy the parks as we have. Our national parks have inspired Americans for nearly 100 years. As we approach the centennial of the National Park Service in 2016, please join us in helping to protect our national park legacy. Find out how at www.mpca.org.
At the American Lung Association, we're fighting for a day when we can all breathe easier. We're fighting for clear skies over every city and healthy lungs throughout the country. We're fighting to free millions of Americans from the addictive grip of tobacco and the devastating effects of lung disease. The American Lung Association isn't just fighting for air, we're fighting for all the things that make it worth breathing, and we can use your help. See what you can do at fightingforair.org.
This is Betty White. I know you don't need one more thing to worry about, but listen, high blood pressure can cause kidney damage, blindness, heart attack, stroke, and you can have high blood pressure even if you feel all right. 1 in 7 adults has it, but it's easy to get your blood pressure checked, and you can treat it if it is too high. So don't worry about it, don't ignore it, just see your doctor and check it out.
For your free booklet, visit the Will Rogers Institute at wrinstitute.org and find us on Facebook and Twitter.
Welcome back to the Eat, Drink, Explore radio network. Here now is your fabulous host, Mr. Randall White.
Fabulously rested, well rested, that is for sure. 9:33 the time because I got an extra hour overnight. What a difference that made. The sun was actually starting to come up a little bit when when the alarm clock went off, because I tried to get in here a good hour before the show and
to be prepared.
To be prepared. And we went, because Patty does the news, so we went the very latest news from the morning, and we do a live show. So it's not like we can, do the news the week before or what have you. My name is Randall White, joined by Patty Pyburn. You're listening to Eat, Drink, Explore Radio, and we're talking about the time change and how it might affect your sleep patterns. We are joined by sleep expert, Dr. Clete Cushida. He's with the preeminent place in the entire nation for these sorts of answers, the Stanford Sleep Center. And I've heard guests from the Sleep Center before on some radio shows that I listen to, and I thought, you know what, this is the perfect opportunity to find out how food might play a role.
Right.
But the doctor did just mention during our last segment that in order to get up in the morning, it helps to have some bright light mimicking the sun sort of around you. And doctor, I was wondering, what about the reverse of that? What if for all these people that now put the laptops on their lap as they're laying in bed and they're staring at this illuminated screen before they try to go to sleep at night, and then they close it and they turn off the lights, does that affect their ability to then fall asleep?
Fortunately, the amount of light that comes from laptops and also television isn't enough to alter the circadian rhythm. But the problem is that the mental activity can cause problems with getting to sleep. So actually, we recommend, particularly for those that have difficulty sleeping, to refrain from any type of work 1 to 2 hours before bedtime. And same thing with reading or watching television. If that helps to make them fall asleep, that's okay. But generally, we recommend to avoid the work and also to use dim light if they need to read. And dim light generally means less than about a 60-watt bulb. To use micro lights, sometimes that can help.
So it's more brain activity than that minor amount of light that's coming out, and that might be what's keeping people awake. Because if they're on the laptop, they're probably
thinking about work and what they have to do.
Yeah. So, what I've actually tried, and it works really well, is I purposely, on Netflix, pick something that I know will be interesting but boring. Like something something that really gets into the minutia of something scientific, and I will put that on, and sure enough, without 20 minutes into it, my eyes are getting so heavy I can barely stay awake. And so it is the mental activity.
Correct. And one of the things that we also tell patients, particularly if there's sort of the type A personality, is to do what's called a worry list, and that means write down a few hours before bedtime all the things that are kind of concerning them, and for instance, things that they're worried about for tomorrow, and to try to mentally deal with it at that time rather than thinking about it the moment their head hits the pillow.
How far in advance did you say?
At least a few hours. Generally, we recommend about 2 to 3 hours before bedtime.
Right.
Interesting.
I'd need a pretty thick pad to go through all those. No,
now, Randall, you had mentioned diet and exercise. How does that play into this equation of trying to get restful sleep? Does it depend on what you eat?
Yeah, it is a bit controversial because there were some earlier studies indicating that maybe carbohydrates or tryptophan-containing foods might make it easier for the person to fall asleep. And the tryptophan was intriguing just because tryptophan is a necessary precursor for serotonin, which is a neurotransmitter linked to sleep. However, that research is still a little bit mixed in terms of its findings. So generally, we don't recommend following any type of specific diet to help you sleep. But the thing that is interesting is that there's two hormones that are connected with sleep. One is ghrelin and one is leptin. And what's interesting about sleep amounts is that if you sleep less, you tend to increase the amount of ghrelin and decrease the amount of leptin, and that corresponds with appetite. And so what happens is that there's a relationship that if you decrease your sleep, even down to about 5 hours or so, you can get an increase in ghrelin, decrease in leptin, and then also a corresponding percentage increase in your body mass index. So that's why we tend not to, obviously recommend too much sleep loss or sleep deprivation, because it can even have an effect on appetite and also body weight.
Right. I've seen studies that have come out recently that show if you are not getting your required amount of sleep, which I imagine differs from person to person, that can lead to weight gain. And this would be why? Because of ghrelin and leptin? Am I saying those correctly?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, it can actually have an effect on that. That's why, for most people, about 7 to 8 hours of sleep is about the average that they should try to get. Now, obviously, that changes. If you're younger, like for instance, children or adolescents, they tend to need closer to even between 12 to 14 hours.
How about when you get older, like in your 70s, 80s, 90s?
Yeah, well, the problem is that as you get older, the sleep tends to change. You tend to get less non-REM and REM sleep, the sleep becomes more fragmented. The sleep really becomes very similar to that of a person that has insomnia. That's why it's really important to apply some sleep habits. Things like the regular schedule, the bright light. Also, one other thing that's key is if you can't fall asleep or can't fall back asleep within 20 minutes, you should get up, go to another room, do something that makes you drowsy, like you mentioned, reading a boring book, and then when you feel drowsy, then go back to bed. That conditions a better environment with being a place to sleep, not for tossing and turning. So that's also a key step. But you shouldn't have like a clock and watch for that 20 minutes. You should just sort of estimate it, because watching the clock can also be a sleep preventing activity.
Yeah, that stress of watching the minutes pass by can really prevent you from overcoming.
We've both done it many times.
Overcoming your insomnia. Now, doctor, I am very sensitive to caffeine. I'm sure there are lots of other people out there. While I want it to wake me up in the morning, there are times when I know if I have it too late in the day, it messes up my sleep. So how does caffeine, and it comes in many forms, how does that play into people getting the right amount of rest?
Yeah, that's absolutely right. Some people are more sensitive to caffeine than others, especially those that have been taking caffeine for a while. So they become more tolerant to it. But generally, as a rule, we recommend not, especially if the person has difficulty falling asleep, to avoid caffeine by the mid-afternoon, early evening, and in some cases, absolutely, stopping the last cup, close to dinner, just because that can have an effect on sleep. It's one of the things like alcohol, for instance, that can also cause problems.
What about people that don't have a problem falling asleep? They have their set bedtime. They go to bed, but then 3-4 hours in, they wake up and then they just toss and they turn and they just cannot get back to sleep, even though they have plenty of time to sleep before they have to wake up for work or what have you. What causes that?
Yeah, if they have a consistent problem with that, that's probably a good thing to see either the primary care physician or sleep specialist about. The reason is there can be a lot of different sleep disorders that can cause the awakening and make it difficulty for the person to fall back asleep. One example is obstructive sleep apnea, where the airway clamps down during sleep. Mm-hmm. And what can happen is that when the person has that apnea period, it jazzes up the sympathetic nervous system, which causes these hormones and neurotransmitter to prevent the person from falling back asleep. So if the person has like an undiagnosed case of apnea, that can definitely cause the awakening. The person's not going to realize that they woke up because of the apnea, but it will prevent them from falling back asleep.
I see. We mentioned drinking caffeine. I know drinking alcohol also plays with a role in the ability for you to get a good night's sleep. We hear that, having a glass of wine or two with dinner on a regular basis is good for your health, but then we also hear that having a glass of wine or two can affect how well you sleep at night. So it seems like the two sort of don't go well together.
Right.
Right. That is another thing that has mixed findings or mixed thoughts on. But generally, like 1 or 2 glasses of wine probably wouldn't have that much of an effect on sleep. The exception would be is if the person, isn't used to, drinking, 1 or 2 glasses of wine, at during dinner. But what happens when a person drinks alcohol is it can cause fragmentation of sleep. So it can, chop up the sleep during the night. So generally, we tend to recommend that if you are going to drink, to space it out as earlier in the evening as possible. It's very good at actually helping the person to fall asleep, but in certain individuals, it can cause fragmentation of sleep. It can also relax the upper airway, causing a person that snores. It can make them snore more and potentially have sleep apnea, so it can fragment the sleep. Now, that said, I'm not recommending that people stop drinking alcohol. It's just that, like anything else, you need to do it in moderation, and also to maybe space it out a little bit before bedtime.
Do you hear, we only have about a minute left for this, but do you get more calls there at the Stanford Sleep Center during the spring forward time change event rather than the fall? Because in the fall, we all get an extra hour, so we're, most of us are loving it. But in the spring, I imagine you get a few more calls there saying, now I have problems sleeping.
Absolutely. That's when it tends to, be the worst, or it tends to affect the people more. And, one thing I did want to say was that, there are 2 things that really tend to affect the amount of alertness that you have during the day, the sleep quality and the sleep quantity. The quantity, you have some control over it, but if you do have persistent issues with sleep quality or daytime fatigue and sleepiness, then really you should try and get that resolved by either seeing your primary care physician or a sleep center.
Dr. Clete Cushida with the Stanford Sleep Center. We have a direct link to the Sleep Center at eatdrinkexplore.com under the program summaries. Thank you so much for giving us, the very latest in what we know about sleeping.
Great information.
Sure. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you, Doctor. All right, stick around, everyone. We're going to talk playing in the sand, building sandcastles. It's not just for kids. Wait until you see some of this stuff if you're watching online and some of the tips you'll hear as well. You're listening to the Eat, Drink, Explore Radio Network.
Wherever you turn this election,
complex new
it's hard to ignore the ads.
California family by
They're
hundreds of
everywhere.
dollars per year.
Like that campaign from Dow, Monsanto, and foreign chemical companies spending millions trying to protect their profits and hide what they're doing to our food. But when you tune in to what's really happening, Prop 37 just gives us the right to know if our food is genetically engineered. 37 is about a simple label that doesn't cost a dime. So it's won the support of consumers, doctors, farmers, and so many others. So when you hear those ads, remember they're funded by Monsanto, Dow, and foreign chemical companies trying to sell more pesticides. Yes, on 37. It's Californians versus the corporations. Shouldn't we have the right to know what's in our food? Proudly paid for by Yes on 37 for your right to know if your food has been genetically engineered. Supported by consumer advocates, makers of organic products, and California farmers. Major funding by Mercola.com Health Resources LLC and the Organic Consumers Fund.
Salisbury Vineyards at the Schoolhouse in Avila Valley has an incredible lineup for Slow Wine Country's Rock and Harvest celebration, all day Sunday, November 4th. Beginning bright and early, our Salisbury family is hosting the biannual Hair the Dog Pancake Breakfast from 9:30 to 11, and we'll have our famous backward mimosas too. From 1 to 4, Salisbury Vineyards has talent from Hollywood with Andrea Calderwood and trio Sequence. These young performers are the faces you are likely to see soon on some of America's favorite new music competitions, so come early to get good seats. For the show, Salisbury Wines and Confusion Culinaries, tasty dishes will be available for purchase. These events are open to the public and are free for Salisbury Wine Club members and participants attending one of Slow Wine Country Rock and Harvest celebrations. Find details for all Salisbury Vineyards events at salisburyvineyards.com or give us a call at 805-595-WINE.
What do your status updates say? You're learning a new language? Going all organic? Instead of typing your feelings, what if you could put them into action? By creating a network to help keep kids off the streets in a country like Armenia or in Honduras, bringing IT into the classroom, or on a farm in Tanzania, helping stem the world's food crisis by creating a sustainable agricultural program. What if every ounce of your being helped update the status of a person, and in turn they did the same for you? Would this be enough social interaction? Or is this only the beginning of something larger? Life is calling. How far will you go? Peace Corps. Get interactive at peacecorps.gov/game.
For the latest video and information from today's show, head on over to eatdrinkexplore.com. We're constantly updating it with the latest food, beverage, and travel trends. Also, we're launching a new section of the site called California Love. This is where we recommend great companies, and the best part is every single business we feature is locally owned. We've checked them out and are confident you'll love them as much as we do. This is a great tool to have as we head into the holiday shopping season. Since you're already spending money, you might as well support your neighbor. We choose businesses that give back to the community, care about the environment, or use only the freshest local and organic ingredients. They also make their products here, not overseas. Our California Love business recommendation tool is still in the development stages, but will be available very soon at eatdrinkexplore.com. Eat, Drink, Explore Media, your lifestyle information source. 9:49 on this Sunday morning. It is 9:49 Standard Time. If you have not changed your clocks yet, you'll want to do that. Make sure you check the coffee maker because you don't want that being off. That's a big thing. And that, for most people, those don't automatically update.
Right.
All the phones now and stuff just automatically update, so that makes life easy. You just check your phone in most cases and find out what time it is. And it is time right now for us to bring in the host of the Sand Masters. You'll find that show on the Travel Channel. And, I don't have cable, so I haven't watched it. But
I haven't seen it either.
You can find a lot of it online. So
I'm looking at their website, and it's pretty cool.
It is really cool. Rusty Croft lives in Carmel, as a matter of fact, in our listening range.
That's appropriate.
Yes, exactly. And joins us right now to talk a little bit about playing in the sand as an adult. Hey, Rusty, welcome to Eat, Drink, Explore Radio.
Good morning, Randall and Patty. How are you?
Fantastic. Great to have you here. And, at first when I thought, so we do everything around a compass word, and originally the compass word was master, because I was going to talk about becoming a master sommelier, because there's a movie debuting at the Napa Film Festival that looks fascinating.
Sand Master fits with that.
And Sand Master work with that. Well, as it turns out, the filmmaker is doing an underwater shoot this morning.
Not
and
available.
Really, that's not the best place to place a phone call.
Yeah, not exactly available, is he?
So I had to change it. So then now I based everything on what you do, and so all of our segments were based on sand.
It worked out well, Sandman.
It did.
Well,
exactly.
I have to tell you, I'm much more fun anyway. So. That was a good call, Randall.
So one of the fun things that I like about your show is in the open there, you say, I really like to build giant sand sculptures, but that really wasn't paying the bills. But you've turned your hobby into paying the bills. It's one of those things. Do what you love, and the money will follow, and you'll never work a day in your life.
I don't know about the never working part, but it certainly follows true to, you follow your heart and things will happen. It's amazing the different phone calls that I will get from all over the world at any given moment without a moment's notice. People try and get a 6-month out kind of schedule for me, and honestly, I usually can't give it to them because, as what happened just last week, I got an email from India and an invite to the first ever Sand Sculpture Festival in India.
Oh, wow. Where's that held?
It's on the East Coast, Central East Coast. It's a little town, sea resort town called Puri.
Mm-hmm. And so what you do, aside from doing like festivals and that sort of thing, but your company, Sand Guys, and it's sandguys.com, for special events, people that are holding festivals or, large wedding receptions, those sorts of things, you build elaborate sand sculptures for those.
Absolutely. And the contest and like the sand festival that I'm going to in India, and I actually leave tomorrow for 2 big contests in Florida.
Oh, safe
But
travels.
those are my chance to really indulge my art, where I get to make anything I want.
Yeah.
And I just get to dig in and make art. That's our motto. That's what we live by. But Sand Guys, our actual business is all catered around the customer. So whatever they want, whether it's team building, which we do quite a bit of with a lot of the Silicon Valley elite that we have up here, Google, Yahoo, Facebook, those kind of companies.
They can spend money on these sorts of things, right?
Sure.
Playing in the sand.
And, it's a great offsite when they want to do a project and bring together 2 different departments, or one reward a department that's been working really hard, and they don't necessarily get to know each other outside of the office. They bring them down to the beach, and we like to think, and we like to say, we turn adults into little kids in about 5 minutes.
I'm sure that's pretty easy to do when they're playing in the sand. And what a great concept that you were able to turn this into a business. I've been watching some of your stuff online, some of the time lapses that you have. What was your favorite project?
Oh, boy, there's so many. I love them all. But one of my favorite trips of all was just this last season. We went to Palau. Way out there in Micronesia, in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, just northwest of Australia. And this tiny little island that is absolute underwater paradise. And I'm a big scuba diver, so we went there to celebrate the 10th anniversary of the Palau Shark Sanctuary, which is now a World Heritage Site, and the concept is spreading all over the planet. Because of shark finning, the shark population is actually going down.
Right.
And being that they're a top predator, they take out all the weak and sickly fish, so it actually keeps the fish population much healthier and stronger because we need that. We love to eat good tuna, right?
Right, exactly. And so you need to keep the balance in the oceans.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey,
So
go ahead.
that was probably one of my favorite projects ever. And then also Thailand. We went to Thailand for the Songkran. It's a New Year's festival that starts out with it's all about water. And you bless the elders by washing their hands. Second day, you bless your Buddha by washing your Buddha. And the third day, you wash everything. Everyone, everywhere. It's a nationwide water fight. And
Wow.
It's one of the funnest things I've ever been a part of in my life.
Now that's some good, clean fun.
It was insane. Insane.
Oh, gosh.
Hey, Rusty, I don't know if you can do this in about a minute because I have a couple of things I want to get to, but you told me the other day on the phone that you just had one of the most touching moments in your career when you went down to San Diego and helped a guy with his wedding proposal.
Yeah, that was really fantastic. It was we've done a few wedding proposals before, but they were really big, and it was for the TV show. It wasn't quite as intimate as this one. It was a local Marine, surprised his girlfriend, who's now his fiancée, with a sandcastle out in front of Hotel Del down there in San Diego, and they just wandered up on the sand sculpture. They had dinner reservations, and walk around to the front of the sculpture, and she's standing there, and she reads the sign that I built a banner and a nice castle, and it says, "Will you marry me, Kristen?" By the time she realizes that's my name,
That's my name.
and she turns to her boyfriend. He's on one knee with the ring out, and it was just a tear fest.
Isn't that
after
great?
It was fantastic.
I love that story. Now,
Yeah.
where can people listening right now in California find some of your work? Because I imagine your work is not permanent.
Right.
It changes.
It's not.
But can they stumble upon it somewhere if they were doing a Sunday drive today?
Not today. In this day and age, the best place to find our most recent work is on online, on Facebook, Sand Guys Facebook, and on sandguys.com.
Yeah, and you do have some great videos there online at sandguys.com.
Yeah, and we do have our feelers out right now to do some seasonal displays. So keep an eye out. You never know, at your local shopping mall, shopping center, something like that, we might put up a nice Christmas display, a holiday-themed display that can be up for a month or more.
And I would think some coastal properties might find that kind of fun too, to draw people some of their with views of the beach. They might want to put something like that.
Yep, absolutely. A lot of it's pretty popular in hotels to do a small, like when I say small, I mean 5-ton, maybe 6 feet tall, 4 feet wide.
Okay,
sand
a little
sculpture that
project.
just says "Season's greetings, welcome to the blah 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 resort property."
Rusty Croft, in 20 seconds, what's the number one thing people can do to keep the castle from falling down when they're building it at the beach?
More water, more water, and more water.
Okay.
Water, water, water. There you go.
That's it.
Rusty Croft with Sand Guys. That's sandguys.com. He's a California native there, or I don't know if a native or not, but he lives in Carmel. Great to have you joining us. Thank you so much, sir.
You bet. Thanks, Randall and Patty.
All right, everyone, enjoy your Sunday. We're certainly glad you spent the first part of it with us right here at Eat, Drink, Explore Radio. Catch you back here next week.
You've been listening to the Eat, Drink, Explore radio program. If you missed any of our segments today, look for them online or through our free Apple and Android apps. Catch you back right here